Hello and welcome to Oak Road Hatters Put It in the Mixer show. I'm Billy Mully. I'm joined by Andy Burgess as we look back to our two winning trips to Wigan. Andy, you were on co-coms duty for both of those games. 2 wins in 4 days. Buzzing.
Yeah, 2 good wins. Different games. Wigan probably changed it up a bit for the league game, having brought players in and who weren't eligible for the FA Cup game. So they were two I thought, fairly different games. But listen, they're fighting for their lives. Wigan, they're under a new manager. I think people look at it and think it was going to be an easy couple of games in the FA Cup and then the league, and it's never the case. But I thought 2 really good professional performances, especially Saturday in the league. I thought that was a really good away performance, and one that I thought really epitomised what we're about at the minute. So yeah, really good week, and hopefully it gives us a nice little boost going into the next run of fixtures.
As you say, really good week, starting with an FA Cup victory. We're now, I say in the hat, but it's already been drawn. We're playing Grimsby in the 4th round, and then of course after Saturday's victory in the league, we edged that little bit closer to the playoff positions. Today we're going to be looking back at the 2 goals that we scored at the DW Stadium on Saturday, and he's going to run through a little bit of analysis on them, and again we're going to take a look at something in particular. This theme for today is Elijah Adebayo and his sort of recent performances, and I'm sure Andy will go into a lot more detail, but I think it's clear to see that he's definitely making much more of an impact at the moment, both on and off the ball. And yes, we'll delve into that a little bit later. So Andy, starting with the first goal on Saturday, Harry Cornick. We always speak about how important the early goal is for Luton. Just have to look at our record when we score first. It's very, very impressive. But it was, I guess you'll go through it more now, but Harry Cornick pressing when Kulka had, a very difficult afternoon the whole time, but he opted to press, and that really started the difficulties that Kulka suffered for the rest of the afternoon.
It did, yeah, and it's for me that the goal is all about how we press and how high we press and how aggressive we are on that press, and the fact that Wigan under a new manager, somebody who's come down from the Premier League, who is going to have, I think, he's worked under Brendan Rodgers at Celtic and at Leicester, and his philosophy will be to play. Now, that's fine, that's all well and good, but you need the players who can do that. And listen, Stephen Colker's had a good career; he's played at the top level, but he's perhaps not as comfortable in possession as a John Stones or a Leicester player that he's used to playing, Johnny Evans or someone like that. He's so perhaps he has to adapt a little bit, Colo, because I think when they do get pressed, and this is why players are playing at that level, no disrespect to him, obviously, they're playing at a very high level, but I think he has to adapt a little bit more and play a little bit more direct, because they've got 2 big centre forwards, and they didn't really use them as well as, you look at Luton, they got it into Adebayo, they get it up to into the space in the channels to Harry Cornick. So the first goal was, if we have a look through, and I think the first thing to see is how many players we commit to the press. Right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there. I think 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 players there, all in the almost the final third of the pitch, high up the pitch, not allowing them to play. Clark's got goal side, he's forcing them backwards, and then when the pass goes back, you can see straight away Adebayo, Cornick, and Panzu all going towards Kulka to press the ball, and that's great organisation. It's great understanding of what's wanted. It's great understanding of each other. And then Cornick robs him. Does really well, because you can see Kulka comes back on him and tries to bring him down. He tries to make a foul. So for Harry to stay on his feet firstly, and then to keep the composure when he stepped away from him, just as a little stutter in his run up. And there's 3 players in front of him, so it wasn't an easy finish by any stretch of the imagination. He got a little bit of luck on the finish, just clipped the leg of the defender, but I think he deserved that luck with the work rate and the effort and the ability the team showed to go and press. And if we just have a look at it again, that amount of players high up the pitch is fantastic. Look where the wing backs are. Midfielders are all in the top end of the pitch. But for me, it's the reaction. As soon as this is a trigger. This is what we're talking about, triggers. As soon as the player Clark's marking passes it back, then we're all front footed. Then we all go. We all know what's needed. We all know what the trigger is. And that allows Harry to go and really press, really aggressive. Because if he steps past Harry, it doesn't really matter. You've got the midfield there. You've got Elijah there. And then again, as I say, real good composure from Harry Cornick, who perhaps that isn't something that Luton fans would say he's got a huge amount of, his composure. Sometimes he can be a little bit erratic with his finishing. But, we've seen him score wonderful goals before. And, he worked his socks off to get that opportunity. And again, a little bit of luck on the finish. It may have gone in anyway. But I think he earned that luck through the work rate. And just for me on that goal, the really pleasing thing is how high we pressed and how many players we committed to the press. And when you do that, and everybody's on the same page in terms of going on the trigger, then it allows you to win the ball. Obviously, we won the ball there 20 yards from goal. So one little bit of quality after the press, and you score a goal.
And when you look at Corker, when he initially gets the ball past him, of course, it's a difficult ball to receive anyway. But he has a little look over his shoulder and he's not fully aware. He knows Harry Cornick's there, but it's that sort of aggressiveness that Cornick shows straight after that. He didn't expect him to press so quickly and thought he had that little bit more time. But that's what you get with Harry Cornick. You get somebody that he's not just a quick outlet in a forward capacity. He's somebody that works relentlessly. He's quick on you, like Adebayo, who's quick on you as well. And then, as you say, once Corker tries to swipe his legs, you'd sort of forgive him for rushing his effort. But no, he still takes his time, shows composure, does everything that a striker should do, aims for that bottom corner. It looks like it's going there. Gets the fortunate deflection, which he deserves. And 1-0. And as we say, very, very important to get that opening goal. Then a couple of opportunities after that to maybe extend our lead. Wigan grew into the half as sort of the half wore on. So the last maybe 15 minutes, they looked a little bit better. A little bit shell-shocked, I think, after that first goal. But then we speak about the timing of goals when we spoke about West Brom last week, but we scored at a very, very good time to double our lead when Adebayo netted.
Absolutely. The pass from Osho from the back is really positive. And then the movement of the two centre forwards is fantastic. They're so close together. It makes it really difficult for the centre halves to mark them. And then what Adebayo does brilliantly, not only is a fantastic first time ball around the corner, but the spin as well just takes him away from the defender, away from the centre half. He's on his bike. The centre half is a good 4 or 5 yards away from him. Cornick's played a fantastic ball. There's no space between his legs to get that through, you wouldn't think, but it gets there. And that's a wonderful finish. Absolutely magnificent finish from Elijah Adebayo. It looks an easy one, but let me tell you, they're tough. It's coming across him. It's on his right foot, which is difficult from that angle. If you see it again, the ball from Osho, he's got options. He can play safe. He can go to Lockyer. He can go to Watson, but he looks for that pass that breaks lines. And it's a fantastic drilled pass into feet. We'll look at it again in a bit, in those type of passes. But it's a fantastic ball from the back. Really clever play. Really, really clever movement from the front too. Obviously, Cornick doing what he does well, Adebayo doing what he does well. But then this is the impressive bit for me, is he hasn't just flicked it around the corner and waited. He's flicked it around the corner and said, I want to go and score this goal. Then it's all about, and I remember in commentary, Cornick played a pass about 5 minutes earlier where I think he was trying to slip Doherty in and he overhits it. So I think that might have been playing on his mind as well, but it's an inch perfect pass from Harry Cornick. And again, a fantastic finish from Elijah. Really, really classy finish. First time over the goalkeeper's dive. And really good time. Really good, really, really clever movement. Initially a fantastic ball and a really positive pass from Gabe Osho, who's looking to play more and more of those, I think, in recent games. His passing has been outstanding, I think. And then, as I say, clever play from the front too. Really, really clever ball through the legs from Harry Cornick, and a great finish.
Yeah, as you say, just watching that again, Gabe shows grown in confidence the last few weeks playing that ball. It's kind of balls that we have associated with him, but now he's got a good few games behind him. He's starting to become, as you say, breaking those lines. And then there, you just see Cornick peeling off of Adebayo. Those two just have that brilliant understanding together. And we talk about Morris not being there, and these two really stepping up. And then, yeah, he sort of reminds you there when sort of your old coaches would say to you, don't just admire your pass, move off it as well. And that's exactly what Adebayo does. Both of them show excellent pace there. And that finish reminds me a little bit of Cornick last season against Swansea. Just showing great levels of composure to find that bottom corner. And, from there, Cornick scored, Adebayo scored. It's kind of the perfect afternoon.
Yeah.
And, yeah, as we say, it was definitely a moment, a passing move that deserves the respect it got on the socials as well, because it was, very, very well worked. And it was, I think, the overarching part for me was the fact that Morris was missing. And, these two, Adebayo struggled for form at points this season. Cornick struggled for game time. But put them together against a Wigan defence that, does have athleticism, does have experience, does have some good qualities. They haven't been battered at all this season, Wigan, but they definitely had a really difficult afternoon against those two, not just from the goals we scored, just I think their all-around attacking play.
Yeah, absolutely. The point about Morris is so relevant because he's been such an important player for us this season. He's probably done better than any of us probably thought he would have done. He's to say he's hit the ground running is an understatement. And I think there's one or two people perhaps a little bit concerned that come January the 31st he might not be with us. But the fact that it's interesting as well because Woodrow played in the week and scored. Maybe if he'd have been fit, I think he had a slight calf. Maybe if he'd have been fit, Cornick might not have started either. We'll never know, but it should be, and it looks on paper, and I think it proved that the two of them can be a real good pairing together. We saw it last season, that they can certainly play together, and they've certainly got the attributes where, Elijah comes short and holds the ball up, and we saw on that second goal when Cornick runs in behind, he gives that space, allows that space. You look at the Wigan back four there, Colker was 5 yards behind his defender. So although it's difficult to see on the video, they disrupt teams. They make it awkward. They make teams uncomfortable and make teams disorganized. And it's a real good trait to have within your front two. But to have those two, perhaps as your second and third striker, or, maybe Cornick maybe would be considered the fourth if you put in Cauley Woodrow. And then you've got Cameron Jerome. The options that Rob Edwards has got at the moment are fantastic. And listen, there's nothing better, I think, for a manager to go to an away game, win 2-0, and your two centre forwards score both the goals. That's ideal. And Elijah, we know, has had one or two little niggles and troubles with injuries, but if we can keep him fit, I think he's got 5 league goals this season. We know he got double figures last year. I think if we can get him fit and flying, and get Morris back in fit, and that competition for places still really, really, because I'm sure Cameron Jerome's knocking on. I know he's 35, 36. I'm sure he wants more game time. I'm sure Cauley Woodrow wants more game time. We know he's been out injured, but I'm sure he came to play games. So that's good. That's healthy. That's real good competition. And if that is what is keeping Elijah, or is getting Elijah back on his toes and is spurring him on, then brilliant. And as I said in the previous podcast, that the recruitment team with Colton Morris has done fantastically to identify him, and the club to back Nathan to bring him in, and has been fantastic business. So again, we're in a really good place. But for me, over the 2 games, it was Elijah Adebayo's performances which really caught the eye. I thought he was fantastic. I thought Jordan Clark on Saturday was immense. Just his work rate and effort and desire and his cleverness to play in there, having been a wide player, was just fantastic. But being and I've said it before, but being an opposition centre half, he's just a nightmare. He's 6'4". He's good in the air. He wins free kicks. He's fantastic with his back to goal. He's a goal threat now again. So For me, it's his performances over the last couple of weeks that have been really, really pleasing.
And I think if we wanted further proof of how competitive our front line is, I think Saturday went to a full way to prove that. I think at the start of the season, sort of Luton fans on Twitter and on social media were quick to say that they think that we've got the strongest front line in terms of the different kind of options we have in sort of the 5 forwards we have. I think that goes to show exactly what we mean by that. We've got, Harry Cornick's pace. We've got the physicality and intelligence of Adebayo and Colton Morris. Colton Morris is a forward that can pretty much do it all. Cameron Jerome, another real physical, experienced head, and then Cauley Woodrow, who again, very, very intelligent on the ball, but also a very, very good finisher. So I think in terms of the attributes you want in your front line, the Luton front line cover it all.
Yeah, totally. And that again, Championship is horses for courses at times, and there'll be times where, we've seen it quite a bit. Cameron Jerome's come on so many times, probably in the last 15, 20 minutes of games, to use his cleverness and his experience and maybe wind the clock down. And there'll be times where we perhaps need someone to drop a bit deeper in Cauley Woodrow and link play maybe and expose space in the 10 role. And we know Cauley can play behind maybe Elijah and Carlton, or Elijah and Harry Cornick. We know he can do that 10 role as well. So yeah, totally. The options are with Rob Edwards are fantastic, and the fact that they do, tick every box, I think, in terms of the front 5. I'm sure Cameron Jerome's been fantastic for the younger ones, for even for Colton Morris, and I know he's 26, Colton Morris and Elijah Adebayo. I'm sure Cameron's been fantastic. Let's not forget, obviously, Mick Harford's still in the building as well. So, I'm sure they're learning off him as well. We know how important he was for Elijah Adebayo when he first come in. So they're learning off good people, they're learning experienced people, and I think we're going to look at some clips as we go on about from Elijah, and it 100%, those options are great and they're performing. But I think the support they're getting from midfield, and I think the quality they're getting into him is also improving and is also looking really good. So yeah, we're in a really good place at the moment in terms of our attacking options, and may that continue.
Now we're going to hone in on Adebayo, as you mentioned there, and you think at the start of the season things weren't quite playing out as he would have liked. I mean, sort of loose touches and stuff like that, but he remained a real physical presence, somebody that defenders don't like to come up against. But I think in more recent weeks, since rediscovering his goal scoring form, he's also been, in terms of his link up play, he's been a lot better, as we've seen with the goals, intelligent running. It all seems to be coming together, and as you mentioned there, we're going to see a few clips now of what exactly we're talking about. But going on to the first clip, Andy, it just shows again Adebayo and how valuable he is to this team when progressing up the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, it just seems to be clicking for him at the minute. And maybe at the start of the season, it was a bit loose. Things weren't coming off. But once you get a goal, once you get a couple of goals, once you get a little run in the team, they seem to come off for you. But this is obviously Saturday. Clever play, good play. That's the easy pass for Watson. This is what I'm talking about, the support they're getting. He's broken that line there. Now he's got the support off Bree running in beyond him. But there's that quality. There's that cleverness from Elijah Adebayo. He's got that in abundance. He's not just a big 6'4" physical centre forward. He's somebody who's got that real quality. When the ball comes into his feet, players can run off him because they know they're going to get it. Again, simple pass for Watson, turns it down. Pass priorities are passing. Can you get it into a centre forward? Yes. Now, have I got the runner off my centre forward? Yes. And it's just all round real good play. But it comes back to the point that if it's not happening for Adebayo, then potentially Watson doesn't play that ball around the corner into him. Potentially Bree doesn't make that run. So when things are happening for players, everyone is confident around them, and that's a good thing to see at the moment.
And do you think sort of the Edwards effect has had a big impact in that? Because we've seen Watson come into the side, and as you mentioned there, when Watson gets the ball, his first thought is to find Adebayo, doesn't go for the simple pass, looks to break the lines. And then a common feature of Edwards is having wing backs that little bit higher up. So having, James Bree in close proximity to Adebayo, do you think that helps his game? It means he's less isolated, I guess.
Without a shadow of a doubt. If Bree's 10 yards deeper, he's not getting that ball. And Adebayo, all right, holds it in and probably sets it back. But all of a sudden, you go from being 15 yards in your own half to, because the wing backs are higher, because the wing backs are closer to your centre forward, then you can get in behind. And all of a sudden, James Bree's 10 yards from the penalty box, opposition penalty box. So, yeah, absolutely. And, having players like Louis Watson in there who are positive in their passing, every time he gets the ball, his neck is on the swivel, and he's looking to play that forward pass. He doesn't force it if he's not, and he does keep it, and he can play that. But again, it's because Louis Watson has got that in his game. Then Adebayo will come into those pockets and look for it. So it all bounces off each other. It's all a byproduct of the players working hard around and the players buying into what the manager's trying to do, and it's really good to see at the moment.
And then I'll let you talk through the second clip again, because again, some more proof of, I guess, Adebayo's, confidence. I think it's an impulse of confidence at the moment, and it's just going to, as I said before, helping us progress up the pitch and work ourselves into better positions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, there's nothing special about it, but he is looking for that space. He is coming off. He is aware of where the defenders are. Plus, we're giving him the ball. It's a tight area. It wasn't an easy pass from Bell, and that just gets us up the pitch. It's just retaining possession. It probably doesn't excite too many people, but it's for me, like you mentioned earlier, at times earlier in the season that wasn't happening. And he would perhaps pin himself against the centre half and it become a little bit of a fight ball. Now he's having that little double movement, coming off, finding the pockets, finding a little bit of space, holding the ball. At times he might have turned there and played the other side, but he's got, at the minute, because he's confident, because he's happy in possession, he's just linking plays, keeping the ball. It gets us out the other side of the pitch, and he's done his job, and it's good to see.
And to you mentioned confidence there, and confidence, of course, is a big factor to when you are making those movements, when you are sort of on top of your game, or inclined to act in that certain way. But do you think credit also has to go to Rob Edwards? Do you see that his movement and I guess his ability to help us progress up the pitch, do you think that's been achieved by Edwards being in the building, or do you purely put it down to confidence?
Well, I definitely think there's been a message to play into him if he's on more or quicker. I definitely think the Gabe Osho ball from Saturday, when he goes from the edge of our box into his feet, I am not 100% sure that would have happened under Nathan. I think maybe he maybe gone back to the goalkeeper, or maybe looked for Louis Watson. And for me, I definitely think with Louis Watson coming into the team as well, there's been the message that the pass priorities are important. And if that first priority of a pass, if you're a footballer, probably 9 times out of 10, if you can get it into your centre forward's feet, that's the best ball, because so much can happen from that. And I think that message has been, you don't know, but I would say that's definitely a pattern that we've seen over the Edwards era at the club. Has been that if we can break lines, if we can get it into a centre forward's feet, don't turn down that opportunity, because when you've got Colton Morris, you've got Elijah Adebayo up there who can link so well, Cauley Woodrow, Cameron Jerome. Why not get it into the forward's feet? And then it becomes a balance. It becomes a balance between forcing it and trying to get it in there when it's not on, and playing balls around corners or playing balls into feet that aren't on, and then making the decisions. So I definitely, to answer your question, I definitely think it's a product of Rob Edwards, and I think the players are buying into it.
As you say there, it's not just Adebayo benefiting from that. It's whoever his strike partner is. It's, as we saw before in the first clip, it's Bree who knows that he can make that run and he will be found. I'll just let you talk us through the third clip here.
Yeah, so again, this one just shows the ability. Again, Bree looking into a centre forward's feet. The easy pass is there to Doherty, maybe, but he wants to go in there. Again, the runners from midfield. Campbell, for me, this is where he's best, breaking off Adebayo and making those sort of late runs off a midfielder who's not tracked, and that's just fantastic. That's just brilliant centre forward play. Again, another runner got him. But for me, like I said, I think maybe 6 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, Bree plays that to Doherty, and we don't have that ball into centre forward as much as we are at the minute. Then again, because we've got a sitter, you can see very clearly there, Watson sitting and 2 centre midfielders in advance. It allows Campbell to get close to him, and then the runners. And then all of a sudden, we've got, again, 4 players breaking from midfield and getting in and around him. So, again, it's not just about Bree, as you mentioned, it's not just about Bree passing it into Adebayo's feet. It's about the runners. It's about people close to him to allow him to then have that first-time flick. And all of a sudden, we've gone from Bree having comfortable possession, again, 15, 20 yards in our own half, to one pass, breaking a line, great run from Campbell, and Adebayo finding him and us getting in behind him. And it's just that mentality of for me, that again, it's the best pass. If you can get it into a centre forward's feet, it's got to be the best pass. I think if we go on to the fifth one now, same game again, forward. Can I play forward? Yes, I can. Brilliant movement from Doherty. Fantastic movement from Doherty off the flank. One touch again, but look at the bodies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bodies in advance of the ball. In and around Adebayo. Campbell again, close to Adebayo. Great movement off Doherty. Gets it off the front of him. And then we're playing forward and we're in for a shot on goal. That comes through movement. It comes through a desire to get in and around him. But it comes from Bree thinking, right, I want to play. If I can I get this into Adebayo's feet? Can I get it into him? Then third man run in, Doherty off the flank into a midfield position where he's on his left foot and can play. But it's a byproduct. It's a byproduct, like you said, of wing backs being higher and people being higher up the pitch and midfielders being closer to their centre forwards, allowing him to get hold of the ball and allowing us to build and grow within the opposition half. So it's great to see. I think it's really, really positive. I think that when you look at the goal that Adebayo scored on Saturday, back to front, quick, but with quality on the floor, real good movement, real good quality of pass, clever play in the final third, and it makes football look simple when we score goals like that.
Yeah, and as you say, byproduct of the wing backs being high, but it's also a byproduct of sort of the quality of the ball coming in from Bree, and we've seen it before for the goal on Saturday with Osho, having sort of that ball playing right-sided centre back is proven to work for us. And when Burke gets back fit, and if he does occupy that right-sided centre back role, you'd expect him to provide that similar quality as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we spoke about it before. You have to give a take a little bit. I really like the fact that we want to play out from the back, and having a Bree or having a Burke or an Osho, feeding and being those quarterbacks, if you like, is fantastic. If we can just perhaps give them that little bit more of defensive awareness and defensive emergency defending that a Lockie has got or a Bradley's got, then fantastic. But yeah, he obviously, I think he wants to play out from the back. He doesn't want to be a kick and rush team. He wants to build from the back. But I think he wants to build from the back with a purpose. And I think if he's the message is simple. I always call it passing priorities, and the priority is if you can get it into your centre forward, that has got to be the best pass. Get it into your centre forward's feet. If it's not on, then can you play as high as you can? Can you play your wide back, your wide players, your wing backs? If not, can you play a midfielder? Then you come out and you recycle. And I think it looks like they're doing lots and lots of work on that. They're talking about that a lot. That's the first bit. And then the second bit is what happens when we play that pass? Then have we got runners? Then have we got support? And it looks like he's really, really structured in his approach, Edwards. He looks like the messages are clear. The messages everybody's buying into and everybody's getting, because everybody looks together on the pitch in terms of how we want to play and how we're trying to play. And again, it's really good to see, and I like it. I think it's, I get playing out from the back. but you've got to do it for a reason. And you've got to, at the end of the day, it's about scoring goals. So if you can get it from back to front as quick as you can with quality, then surely that's the best way to do it.
And going on to this fourth clip, I'm not going to lie, I can't remember which one this fourth clip is. But again, it will show, as we've discussed before, Adebayo's.
I think this is the. I think we looked at 4, but this last one that I've got is just showing is showing Adebayo how important he is to getting us up the pitch, how important he is to winning free kicks, and allowing us to put the ball in a box and free kicks, allowing us to build, allowing us to manage the game at times. And I'll play it, and it's just it's nothing I'd say particularly special, but he is really good at it. He is really good at feeling contact there, feels contact, little pullback, free kick, and it does allow you to get up the pitch. It does allow to relieve pressure again. Little bit of contact, pull back, gets the free kick. Blackpool away, up the pitch, quality, good first touch, wins the free kick. Shows his pace, shows his ability to run in behind and get in behind and disrupt, wins a free kick, works back, works hard. We know he's got a good work rate. Again, relieves pressure. That's huge. Relieves pressure again in his final third. Maybe a little, I know it's a free kick. Relieving pressure, getting you up the pitch. Again, pace. People don't like to defend against it. So it gets you up the pitch. Running at players, committing players. It's a really good trait to have at Norwich. Clever, bright, good ability. Maybe slip there, but wins a free kick. And when you've got someone like that in a team, he's probably the best at doing that. Is feeling pressure, feeling when his team, knowing when his team needs to be relieved of a little bit of the opposition attack and a little bit of the opposition on in the ascendancy. And gets you that free kick. And it comes back to game management. It comes back to, there's nothing better than seeing your centre forward dominating a centre half. And I'll never forget the Watford game the Watford game 2 years ago, was it when James Collins came on and scored the penalty. The ball went forward from the kickoff and he won a header against the centre half, and he won us the game in that header because you could see the centre half just didn't fancy it after that. He went up, his arms went up, he won the first header, and the centre half just thought, I don't really fancy this. And if you come up against an on form, a confident Elijah Adebayo, whether you're a Championship or a Premier League centre half, you know you're in for an awkward afternoon, because he's got the ability to do everything. He can run you, he can hold it up, he can win free kicks. He's just on his day. And he's a goal threat. So on his day, he's got the ability to do whatever he wants to do. Now it's about having that consistency. Now it's about doing it for 25 games. That's try. But a big thing with that is, can he stay fit for those 25 games? I think he's found in the last, season and a half that he's picked up little niggles at times. So we've got to try and just keep him fit. The type of player he is probably going to pick up injuries, but that's about him trying to probably work in the gym and be as strong and robust as he can possibly be. But I just think Morris has come in and blown everybody away. But I think if we get Elijah flying for the next 2 or 3 months, then we're going to be in a fantastic place.
And you mentioned before his ability to win free kicks is his movement again to come in, and then from there is what you said. As soon as he feels that contact, he's intelligent enough when to go down. And you combine that with James Bree's free kick ability. He's caused a lot of problems, and we saw that again at the weekend. That benefits James Bree, having a player who's as intelligent as Adebayo will be. And as we say, we've benefited from that very often. I haven't even mentioned on Saturday how consistent Bree was with his deliveries.
Yeah.
As we say, if it's in sort of the middle third or our own third, it gets us up the pitch. It gives us an opportunity to relieve pressure. But then in the final third, it gives James Bree a real positive opportunity to cause havoc for defences. And I think we're starting to see the very best of that. Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt. There were a couple of balls. I think it was in the first half that were just they're just into such good areas from Bree, and the angles weren't great for him in terms of his delivery, but it was very similar to the header that Adebayo scored against West Brom. The delivery, they're sort of a flat trajectory, and that doesn't give a defender a lot of time to get up and to go and win it. So yeah, that I think what we're seeing is a really balanced squad at the minute. I think we're seeing a squad that players are performing to a really high level, but that's bringing out the qualities in everybody else. So I think there's real good partnerships building. I think you're seeing sort of Potts and Amari Bell on the left-hand side gaining a real good relationship. I think you're seeing Harry and Elijah did on Saturday. Harry and Colton have, but midfield as well. I think Clark and Campbell have got themselves a real good relationship. We perhaps need to be a little bit more settled in terms of the defenders. We've spoken about that, but I think they're growing and they're building and they're really complementing each other. I think all over the pitch, we're complementing each other at the minute. And, we don't need to get carried away. We know 2 or 3 defeats in this league is possible because of the competitiveness of the league. And if that happens, all of a sudden you see yourself slip down. But on the flip of that, the ability to put 2 or 3 wins together, we certainly have got that ability, and we know where that can take you. So I just felt what could have been a really difficult week. We went up there and, they travelled up on Tuesday, came back down and travelled back up on Friday. It was a lot of travelling for the players, but I think the squad was used really well. I think he was intelligent, Rob Edwards, in terms of how he used the squad and used the players. And it was a really positive week.
Yeah, as you say, a very, very positive week to progress through the FA Cup. And then, of course, you're not planning for another opposition. You're having to play Wigan again. It was a rare week, but one that we'll be very proud of come the end of the season. As we say, we're still flying high in the FA Cup, and we're also doing very well in the league, knocking on those playoff doors. Well, that is it for today. A big thank you to you, Andy, and a big thank you to those listening and watching. A quick reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel, our newly formed YouTube channel, Oak Road Hatter. On Twitter, we are at Oak Road Hatter, and the website is www.oakroadhatter.com. But until Thursday's pod, it is goodbye from us.